The fort at Kumbhalgarh is perched atop a hill amidst Aravali ranges surrounded by dense forest. It is remarkable for many reasons. Ancient Indian texts of architecture describe forts of many kinds, amongst them the forest fort, the hill fort, and the artificial man-made fort. This displays characteristics of all three at the same place. The ramparts built to protect it encompass an area of over 35 kilometers, and the breadth of the ramparts is such that 4 horsemen could simultaneously ride on them to protect standing on guard. It is believed that these walls are second only to the Great Wall of China.
"80 kilometers away from the lake city of Udaipur, Kumbhalgarh is perched atop a hill. The fort is considered the pride of Rajasthan. Nestling in the lap of the Aravalis, the oldest mountain range in the world, its ramparts sprawl out like a giant python.
Ruins of Samprati's fort or fortifications are the base of what became Kumbhalgarh. Historically, we know that Samprati was a grandson of Emperor Ashok, the Mauryan Emperor Ashok, and the Jain traditions tell us that he inherited the western half of the old Mauryan Empire.
Well hidden by dense jungle and approachable through a rough passage, crisscrossed by ravines, this site was not only significant strategically, but also the beloved of hermits and recluses who wished to meditate undisturbed. Once the fort came up, the secluded spot became an even more secure sanctuary. This attracted wealthy Jain merchants to settle here.
कुंभा ने करीब 15-20 वर्ष के परिश्रम के बाद में इस दुर्ग का निर्माण पूरा किया था। 1458 में ये दुर्ग बनकर के तैयार हो गया था। कुंभा को जरूरत थी मालवा गुजरात से संघर्ष करने की, और मालवा गुजरात संघर्ष के लिए ये सबसे महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र था, ताकि एक महत्वपूर्ण दुर्ग मिले मेवाड़ की दृष्टि से, जहाँ पर तोपें वगैरह भी आसानी से न जा सके, क्योंकि 1526-27 के बाद में तोपों का शुरू हो गया था, तो महत्व दुर्गों का इतना नहीं रहा। तो ये स्थिति थी कि मालवा गुजरात को अपने अंकुश रखने के लिए, मेवाड़ की सुरक्षा के लिए ये कुंभलगढ़ दुर्ग का निर्माण कराया था।
Massive ramparts built to protect the fort stretch out for miles and appear to be part of the natural mountain ranges. The strongest defense of this fort were the Aravali mountains. One could reach it after braving the hazards of the frightening forest full of predators and traversing difficult passes.
अरावली पर्वत से घिरा हुआ, जिसके अंदर खूब अच्छी प्रचुर मात्रा में वहाँ की धोक की पहाड़ियाँ, धोक के जंगल, मिश्रित जंगल, सालर, गोदल के वृक्ष पूरी तरह आच्छादित, नदी नालों से भरपूर ऐसी प्राकृतिक स्थल के ऊपर महाराणा कुंभा ने जब अपना दुर्ग स्थापित किया, तो ये माना जाता था कि वो अभेद्य है, उसको कोई जीत नहीं सकेगा।
Palaces here appear to kiss the clouds. The temples are exquisite, and many villages here have been home to tribal people for centuries. Kumbhalgarh was used by the rulers of Mewar as their capital in times of crises.
During Kumbha's time, 32 out of the 84 famous forts of Mewar were built or renovated. So, Kumbhalgarh is a splendid fort, but it's one of a whole string of forts that were put up, and that's interesting in itself.
The strong ramparts not only repelled invaders, but also kept away dangerous animals. The thick wall built more than 500 years ago leaves us in awe even today.
What is extraordinary is the length of that fort wall, and wherever you look in Kumbhalgarh, there is this fort wall at the crest of every hill, and it goes down into the valley and rises. And had it sustained, it could have housed, half of Rajasthan inside those fortifications.
Those charged with the defense of the fort were so confident of the strength of these walls that they never bothered to dig a moat around the citadel.
कुंभलगढ़ कांगड़े माथर वे के आप अगर यहाँ पहुँचना है तो मच्छर बन के ही पहुँच सकते हो, नहीं तो यहाँ पहुँचना असंभव है। इस तरह का किला बना हुआ है कि दूर से दिखता है, लेकिन उस पर बमबारी करो तो गोला नहीं लगेगा, और अंदर प्रवेश पा जाओ तो जंगली जानवर इतने थे कि कोई ऊपर पहुँच नहीं पा रहा था। फिर भी अगर पहुँच भी गया तो किला इतना सुदृढ़ है, 7 पोले हैं, एक एक के बाद एक एक गेट पर रोका जा सकता है। इसका कोई घेराव डाल दे तो अंदर 7 तालाब और खेती होती, तो पानी की कमी नहीं, अनाज पैदा करो, और पूरी सेना साल भर तक डेरा पड़ा रहे तो भी वहाँ उनको कोई नुकसान नहीं होता। अगर फिर भी कोई प्रवेश कर गया और ऐसी व्यवस्था हुई कि वहाँ से निकलना पड़ा, तो सुरंग के रास्ते से वहाँ से 5-6 किलोमीटर दूर तक अंडरग्राउंड पैसेज है, बाहर निकल सकते थे।
One has to climb steeply up the hill to reach the palaces built on top. The serpentine curving road passes through 6 strong gates. Two of these are about 4 kilometers away from the main fort. In addition, there are a few small narrow gates for entry and exit through the ramparts.
The fort at Kumbhalgarh was constructed by Maharana Kumbha, a man famous in the history of India as a brave warrior and a man who constructed many a fort in Rajasthan. This fort was very dear to him, and he spent a large part of his life here. Very often we forget that Rana Kumbha was not just a brave soldier. He was an accomplished wrestler, a talented poet, a person knowledgeable about music, a patron of arts. His accomplishments in peace are no less memorable than his accomplishments on the battlefield.
The Shiva Temple was built in the middle of the 15th century. The round dome-like roof is supported by 24 strong pillars. A handsome statue of Nandi the bull is placed at the main entrance. The sanctum contains a 5-foot-tall lingam cast in black stone. It is said that the height of the lingam was to suit the convenience of Rana Kumbha, who was exceptionally tall. There are a number of temples within this fort, and most were constructed during his reign.
एक साइंटिफिक फ्रंटियर देने का श्रेय अगर किसी को जाता है तो कुंभा को जाता है। मेवाड़ का प्रभाव जो इधर उधर फैला उसमें कुंभा का योग सबसे ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण है। साहित्यकार भी था और साहित्यकारों का आश्रयदाता भी था। उसके समय में मौलिक रचनाएं भी हुई और प्रतिलिपियाँ भी उसके समय में तैयार हुई। जैसे खुद ने अनेक भाष्य लिखे और उनका सबसे महत्वपूर्ण ग्रंथ तो उनका संगीत से है, जो आज 16,000 पदों का इतना बड़ा संगीत राज जो ग्रंथ का नाम है, कोई दूसरा नहीं मिलेगा। अनेक राग रागनियों के बारे में पता लगाया कुंभा ने।
Golesh Jhen Temple is quite some distance away from the citadel. The roof is circular and appears like a dome when viewed from far. It has been beautifully decorated. The pillars are covered with fine stone carvings. Exquisite statues of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh are encountered here. This is in fact a complex of 9 temples where Hindu and Jain shrines coexist. During the reign of Rana Kumbha, a number of immensely rich Jain merchants lived here, and they had commissioned these buildings.
The attractions of the Kumbhalgarh Fort are many and compelling. Each stone here bears eloquent testimony to the glorious history of Rajasthan. In addition, there are many beautiful temples, both Hindu and Jain. Within the ramparts exist many tribal villages of Bhils. This is indeed a living museum where one encounters many colorful glimpses of life in Rajasthan. In addition, there is a wildlife sanctuary surrounding it. This is truly a heritage which we must all lovingly preserve.
Of all the Jain temples, the most famous is the one with 52 canopies. 52 small spires are constructed besides the towering shikhar. There is an expansive courtyard with a decorative corridor just as you cross the main gate. The round ceiling is adorned with statues of gods, goddesses, and celestial beings. It creates the impression that they are holding the roof aloft. The outer walls are covered with finely wrought stone screens.
मंदिरों का अपना एक महत्व, आस्था के केंद्र है। विभिन्न संप्रदायों ने अपने अपने मंदिर बनाए हैं और आस्था के केंद्र के साथ साथ मंदिरों की रक्षा के लिए आक्रमणकारियों के खिलाफ स्थानीय जनता को जितना प्रोत्साहित किया जा सकता है वो दूसरे काम के लिए नहीं किया जा सकता।
Talia Jhen Temple stands on a platform rising above from the flat ground. The sanctum today is desolate and deprived of any idol, but the grandeur of the portico is impressive. The tornas adorning the gates are decorated with very fine carvings. This kind of work is difficult even on soft wood and leaves the onlooker awestruck. The pillars and walls are covered with images of men and women, yakshas, gandharvas and apsaras. Other statues depict Agni, Varun, Indra and Yama. This temple was built in the middle of the 15th century and recalls the Jhen Temples of Dilwara and Mount Abu.
तो मंदिर भी है, निवास स्थान भी है, परंतु निवास स्थान में एक विशेषता आप देखोगे, मंदिरों की भव्यता है, परंतु निवास स्थान बहुत सादे, बहुत छोटे कमरे हैं। कुंभलगढ़ में भी जो उनके निवास स्थान है, कोई बहुत ज़्यादा कलात्मक नहीं है। आवश्यकताओं का ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया गया है, अपने व्यक्तिगत सुविधाओं की उन्होंने परवाह नहीं की।
Today, only ruins survive of Kumbha Mahal. The original structure was a small, simple building. Rana Kumbha was not given to a life of luxury. The palace for him catered to the limited needs of a disciplined soldier. It was here that Kumbha composed the many literary works that bear his name. Kumbha's biography is in fact the history of dozens of decisive battles through which he established the supremacy of Mewar in Rajasthan. He fought bravely to extend the frontiers of his state and clashed repeatedly with the sultans of Gujarat and Malwa. The sultans forged an alliance against the Rana, but they could not match him.
It's during his period that the Mewar state was, the largest in its extent. If you look at expansions of fort, it is said that there were 84 forts of Mewar during his time. So it's supposed to be one of the best era, the golden era of the Mewar dynasty.
It is a matter of great shame that the proud head of Rana Kumbha that remained unbowed in battle was cut down by his own son. Kumbhalgarh lost its glory with the death of Rana Kumbha.
There are many interesting stories associated with the fort of Kumbhalgarh. This is the place where the great warrior Maharana Pratap was born, whose name is linked with the Battle of Haldi Ghati. He took on the might of the Grand Mughal Akbar, never bent down or submitted, fought lifelong, protecting his kingdom and his country.
Rana Pratap, the abiding source of inspiration for Indian freedom fighters, was born here in Kumbhalgarh. He battled Akbar throughout his life and never accepted defeat. He spent most of his time in Kumbhalgarh as it was easier to resist the Mughal army here than at Chittorgarh. Rana Pratap has become an immortal hero whose memory continues to be greatly cherished.
अकबर का साम्राज्य अपने समय का विश्व का सबसे बड़ा साम्राज्य था, सर्वशक्तिमान ताकत था। उसको चुनौती देना अपने आप में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, इसलिए प्रताप का एक पक्ष स्वतंत्रता का है कि अपनी स्वतंत्रता के लिए हर त्याग और बलिदान के लिए उसने कोई कमी नहीं रखी और एक उदाहरण पेश किया कि अगर हम आंतरिक रूप से शक्तिशाली हैं तो बाह्य ताकत कुछ नहीं कर सकती।
A historic battle was fought between the armies of Mewar and the Mughals in Haldi Ghati. Balladeers tell us of the heroic deeds of Rana and his noble steed Chetak.
ये पहाड़ी क्षेत्र में कुंभा के समय से यहाँ ज्यादातर भील लोग आदिवासी रहते हैं और भीलों को मित्र बनाया। ये भील लोग ही उनके आँख कान नाक सब कुछ थे। एक एक पहाड़ पर एक एक भील 10-10 किलोमीटर की दूरी पे बैठ करके मुगल सेना किधर से आ रही है, कितनी संख्या में है, वो एक के बाद दूसरे को इतला करता और महाराणा तक पहुँच जाती। वहीं से उनका रसद का सामान लूट देते तो 2 दिन से ज़्यादा टिक नहीं पाते और एक तरह से गुरिल्ला वारफेयर के जनक थे प्रताप।
Akbar's armies kept attacking Kumbhalgarh. Once when the source of drinking water was accidentally polluted, Rana Pratap had to leave for a short while and the Mughals occupied it. However, Rana Pratap soon reclaimed it. He also liberated the neighboring kingdoms of Dungarpur and Baswada from Mughal control.
और किसी को यहाँ तक कि हमारे देवी देवताओं को भी प्रातः स्मरण नहीं कहते हैं, जो प्रताप को प्रातः स्मरण के नाम से पुकारा जाता है। ये विरुद्ध आम जनता के द्वारा दिया गया है। प्रताप का संघर्ष एक व्यक्ति का संघर्ष नहीं था, एक जाति का संघर्ष नहीं था, उस भूभाग का संघर्ष नहीं था, आम जनता का संघर्ष हो। तो जब आम जनता सैनिक हो जाए फिर कोई नहीं हरा सकता। उस स्थिति प्रताप ने अपने उद्देश्यों के प्रति जनता में फैलाने में बहुत योगदान दिया।
Badal Mahal was built in the end of the 19th century by Rana Fateh Singh, who took a deep interest in architecture. He demolished the buildings on the top floor of the fort and got a beautiful palace constructed that is known as Fateh Prakash. Wide corridors lined with ornate pillars are its most striking feature. It's called Badal Mahal also, as it seems to touch the clouds in the sky. Kumbhalgarh, due to its architectural grandeur and its chivalrous past, is a part of our glorious heritage. It has stood witness to the bravery and sacrifices of the rulers of Mewar. It bears testimony to the loyalty of their retainers. It has won renown as the place where art, literature, and music received generous patronage.